texting. What is this dealer? Taking a piss, I've been standing here for 30 minutes. Why is this dealer? Taking a piss, I've been standing here. I need my things. Where's this guy, man? Let's get to it. Like, what the fuck is he doing? I see him speeding, driving fast, overtaking cars like Max did Lewis. Should I mention dangerous driving? I think I'll just remind him. He almost killed the guy behind him, but he sells things that I'm buying. He says sorry to keep you.
Hey guys, what's up? Just making a quick commentary video over this race I did last night here, Watkins Glen, GT3 IMSA Open. I practiced in here for the Watkins Glen 6 hours of the Glen with my teammate from Team Wanna Go Fast Racing, Adam. We're gonna run duos here on this race and make the best of it, so had to get my practice in. I've never driven this track before, a couple days before here when my other teammate Eric was helping me get up to speed and learn which way it goes, so I just did my best. I did another race before this one, didn't go so well, but I find myself here approaching turn 1 here on lap 1 on cold, side by side with a black Red Bull liveried Aston Martin, and typically you want to leave as much space as possible here, but I definitely closed the gap and held him to the outside and tried to get a good exit, but kind of goofed the exit a little bit here, running up through the front stretch, just trying to maintain speed, not doing anything crazy. It's just the opening lap. You can't win it here, but you can definitely lose it, and I've learned that the hard way a few times. But when I do have a good run against this Porsche here, coming down into the brake zone for the bus stop, I brake just a little bit later than him and on the inside, and looks like he has no interest in competing for positions this early on cold tires, and can't say I blame him. When someone shows an aggressive move like that, especially in iRacing, I mean, it's their way of signaling that they're going to put their race in front of yours, and they're probably going to send it, so sometimes it's best to just let them by. So we see this LMP in the dirt here, lap 1, that's not a good sign. LMP drivers will do LMP driver things, making a dentist move there. We're just chasing next cars here in the line, just making our run through the first opening lap, again trying to just nurse our tires here, not doing anything crazy, really just babying the car through the corners and letting the tires come to life. Build a little bit of a run on that Porsche coming in here and kind of give some of that up on exit, but definitely a little bit of an accordion effect. Close call, but no one's harmed. Get a good exit around there. Approaching Mini Blanchimont, I call this corner. It reminds me of Spa here. As LMP is off in the corner here, rejoining pretty dangerously. Man, second LMP on the first lap. It was closer than I'd like it to be. Mentioned Blanchimont. We're training for the Spa 24-hour too. We're going to do that in a couple weeks, so looking forward to that. Had to put my practice on pause here to learn Watkins, but definitely don't regret it because I'm enjoying the hell out of this track. It's super fun. It's super flowy. When you get in the rhythm, it's just all of the corners seem to just come by so naturally, and it's a hell of a pleasure to not only drive but to race as well. The racing comes really natural, and yeah, I enjoy it and definitely look forward to running more of this in the future. Pack of 3 cars here in front of us and kind of gaining on them a little bit here. As we make the run down, approaching the entrance of the horseshoe, or not the horseshoe, the boot, excuse me. Porsche dives out wide to the brake line, or not the brake line, the race line. Dives out to the race line and I swap them inside. Super aggressive move, but you know, I don't feel too bad about it. Super clean, didn't make any contact. The intentions were clear the entire time and nobody got hurt. Maybe a little bit of ego bruised, but you know, that's racing, it happens. Chasing a Mustang and a McLaren up here. Little bit of a run on the guy here. He goes wide into the second corner here, and I build more of a run on him early on the throttle to start reeling him in. Approaching that Mini Blanchimont again. Not too confident on the throttle application, but I do get a good run, and now I just need to do my best to trail my way through that corner, but as you see, I increased brake pressure and didn't have the most confident entry, but that's alright here. Still getting their feet underneath us, getting in the rhythm. The tires should be warm by this point. I believe we're in lap 4 here. This McLaren runs center track here, doesn't track out completely wide and doesn't carry a straight line, so he scrubs off a lot of speed. 2 corners in a row and I make a run at him, but as I myself almost go wide into the wall there. Definitely a little bit of a clincher, but kept it in one piece. A little bit of a slipstream. I show my nose to the inside, but think better of it. Really, I don't think I was going to send it there. I just wanted to get in his head, and it seems like it works a little bit as he eats a ton of that first curb and overslows through the bus stop. I try and sneak underneath him, but he closes that door on me. It's all fine. Into the brake zone here. A little bit early on my braking, but I have traffic in front of me, and I'm just looking for an exit. As you see, my car get jostled. I do downshift in the second gear, but I got smacked there by an LMP that you don't see on camera yet. He's yet to pass us. Just shows the degree of driving we have here down in bottom split 1300 IMSA. LMP drivers can't get around the GTs at all, even when you're trying to let them. But we're chasing McLaren still. Lost a little bit of time to the LMP, but that's how it works in multi-class racing. Sometimes your rhythm gets disrupted, and it's no fault of your own. You just have to keep your head down and hit your marks and keep driving, because hopefully the cars in front of you are gonna experience some misfortune as well. So turning in the end of this lap here, again just trying to hit my marks and keep digging into the lead that these cars are putting on me. As the LMP finally sneaks his way underneath me, he compromises my exit through that corner, so he kind of double hurts me here. He runs into me, gives me a 4X, and then he ruins my exit through one of the bigger, more important corners for overall lap time here. He's carry a lot of speed down the front straight, but he is getting side by side here with the McLaren going into the kink on the right, and they actually come together, and the LMP is in the grass. The McLaren is off onto the curb, almost goes off himself, but they both bleed a ton of speed from that incident here, and I'm able to come in and pass the McLaren with no drama. Thankfully, he didn't feel like he needed to block that or try and get in the way or anything, because that would have definitely resulted in tears for more than likely both of us, but especially me, because oh man, that would have been some prime victimization right there. But as we go back here, as I'm following that LMP through the bus stop, same lap, just trying to maintain my speed and run away from that Porsche behind me here. Trying to match the speed of the LMP, but clearly it doesn't quite work. You can see my brake trace is a little unsure and a little hesitant, and then I slide the car through that corner here a little bit of ABS lockup, second gear, try and maintain control. In the hot temps here, I believe it's 103 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like 32 Celsius. You have to really be gentle and really coerce the car through through the corners here, because the traction just isn't there where it's used to be when you have a lot of that grip from colder track temps. So I'm sitting in here in P5. I think it's around about lap 10 or 11 here in P5 as I just ever so gently drive off track here. Coerce the car through these corners and make my way, turn in another lap. Sunset Fade livery here, made by my other teammate Eric and Riley here. They handle most of the liveries for the team, between thinking them up and then actually getting them down onto Photoshop and getting them done. We ran this for the 12 hours of Sebring, and it was absolute blast. This car looks amazing. We have the same paint for McLaren and a Corvette, I believe, and it looks great on all 3 cars. It's definitely by far one of my favorite liveries we have here. Just a little bit of cinematic here, me running through the uphill section. We get some LMP traffic as well as some prototype traffic come up here as we snake through the bus stop. Super basic livery on the LMP, and then we have this rainbow liveried GTP come through. Man, we almost collide there. It's extremely close, but we made it work. No harm, no foul, no biggie. in the uphill section. Super clean line through that, maximize track usage, hit the apex super late, and carry as much speed and early throttle as possible. Approaching the bus stop here again, just trying to keep my head down, hit consistent lap times, which I was actually able to do for this race. Somehow I was able to do the majority of my lap times in the 147s. Had a few, maybe 4 or 5 laps hit the 46 mark, and I had 1 or 2 in the 48 mark. So, I mean, given IMSA traffic, that's pretty decent, especially in the track temps, man. I mean, in the cold temps, I'm only, 3 or 4 seconds faster than that. So I felt like I really got about as good of a drive out of myself as I can get. I'm just trying to focus on smooth inputs. Definitely never going to be any Moritz Lohner or Yuri Kasdorp, but I'm trying to draw nice symmetrical and even slopes here on brake and throttle and do my best, man. Coerce the car through that corner here. Definitely my least favorite corner on the track, as I stay shallow and severely overslow through this corner as I go side by side with a prototype through that corner. Do my best not to cause any damage. As you can see, the position marker says I'm in P2 here as we enter the pits, which was a big surprise to myself. I didn't see myself go from P5 to P2, but I figured it was on pit cycle. It was possible somebody got in an accident or whatever. Overslow a little bit off the brake limiter here, lose a couple tenths, but that's no biggie. It's a relatively clean pit entrance here. I overslowed just a quite bit into the lollipop entrance, but we see P1, the Mustang, peel off ahead of us here as we enter in P2. Get the car off the jacks and take off with fresh fuel and tires. We see P3 fly by us here. That's unfortunate, but that's the way she goes sometimes. Just gotta keep, like I said earlier, keep your head down, hit your marks, keep running. P4 flies by us there, that Ferrari, and a Mustang. So we got our work cut out for us ahead of the rest of the race, the second half of this race, but was doing pretty decent lap times and felt competitive and worked my way to the front, so I should be able to do the same here. It's definitely a little annoying as we let another Porsche on a hot lap fly by me here on my colds. It's definitely annoying because in most of the pit stop races I run, I feel like I come out of the pits not in as good of a position as when I go in. And I don't know, everyone has to pit, but I feel like there's a race before my pit stop and there's a race after my pit stop, and the race after my pit stop is just, I don't know, it seems like it just go backwards. But plenty of learn iRacing. Pit strategy is not something I've gone really on top of yet, but it's no biggie. Fast forward to the end of that first lap here. Tires should be relatively warm and ready to push. Gotta make up that ground on that Porsche ahead of us we let by, as well as that BMW and the Ferrari. I believe I'm sitting P7 at this point when I start to hear the roar of a Corvette get up close behind me, and this is the first pressure I've really had from behind all race. The closest was the cars that I passed, and while they were trying to fight back as long as they could. But as you see here, going down to the straight, the Corvette looks to the inside. I drive him wide squeeze and dash back to the race line. Brake in time, coerce the car through the bus stop. I enter it first and get through it with a better speed than him, so everything worked out here. Fast forward to the next lap here. Actually, this is going to be the onboard of that here. You see me drive to the center, dash back to the brake line. I said brake line again, back to the race line. Snap the car through, use the curbs to help rotate the car as much through those corners as you can. Get a good decisive lift through the corner. As I say that, as I have a huge lift mid-corner after applying throttle. Probably could have kept it pinned too. It looked like I had plenty of room to track out to the left, but you have to set yourself up for this corner too, so it's multi-layered for sure. That's racing. Coming down to the front of the next lap here, we're going to be in a pretty similar situation as we were on the lap previous. At this point, I'm starting to feel like I got deja vu because I hear that roar of that Corvette behind me, and we're entering the bus stop. As similar as it is, it's going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to drive in the center track, drive defensive as the Corvette decides to take the race line. I do have the leverage on him here, so as long as I brake later, I should be able to secure the position, and that's exactly what happens. I brake as late as possible, carry as much speed, and there's not much the Corvette can do shy of running into me to prevent me from taking that position back. So just got to keep our eyes forward and really try and start to reel in this Porsche here. A little bit of a slide here as you hear the tires start to screech. Pretty decent throttle application. Fast forward to the next lap here. Going through the bus stop again. You can see the Porsche is running wide through that last chicane there. He's not quite coursing the car through, and I'm definitely catching him for it. So hopefully that theme will continue here, and I can, hopefully I can make up some time off of his mistakes. But that would mean I'd have to avoid my own mistakes here, and that's definitely easier said than done, especially in sweltering hot track temps. Super long brake trace through that as I wait for the car to really rotate. On that corner specifically, I drive off of the visual cues of the actual body rolling and the car actually turning in, less so the actual force feedback feel. Kind of messed that corner up a little bit, go wide on him. Also early application on that, but I think I overslowed, so that application to the throttle was definitely to maintain minimum speed, but you have to be careful and you have to be patient. And that's a big thing on Watkins, is being patient with the throttle application as well as the turn in, because if you turn in too early, then you're just going to throw your lines off, and I was definitely guilty of that a lot in the beginning stages. As I got the slipstream on this Porsche here coming down the front stretch. Just have to focus on good exit through this corner and really get another shot at him going into the bus stop. He drives center track here super early, like I said, and kind of throws his line off for the next two corners, and that really results in him scrubbing a lot of his speed off. He blocks the inside. I kind of rub up on him, give him a little bit of a bump draft, kind of shove him off to the left a little bit, but that allows me to sneak in on the right side, and my carry speed takes me through to the brake zone way before he gets there, so it really wasn't even a competition of who was going to outbrake who. I was carrying more speed, and it was going to be real hard for him to outbrake me at that point. So it was a pretty good pass for P6, I believe. Or I believe, actually, I take that back. It's going to be P5 as we see the replay here. You can see me go inside, and he kind of closed that door, so I switch him back the other way. And my speed that I had just really, maybe a little bit of a side draft there. No contact was made, but definitely start throwing air on his rear wing and slow him down. Eat those curbs. He actually gets a really good exit on me here and almost sends it on the inside, but I'm able to convince him to file in and not send it as I close the door on him. Let's see if he sends it again here into this corner. Not quite. He's gonna behave. Maybe here. No, he's not even close enough. As we see this Mustang here flashing that Ferrari, that's gonna be lapped traffic, I believe. Or am I tripping? That's a Corvette, not a Ferrari. It's a red Corvette. But Prince would be proud. That's quite a big red Corvette, not a little red Corvette. But he lets me by. I hesitated to pass him here. I didn't fully trust him. I didn't want to throw the whole race away because, of lapped traffic. I'd rather lose a couple tenths to it than lose my entire race to it. And it sucks, especially when, you're trying to make back positions after a pit stop and you feel like you have pace against these guys. But theme of the race is just have patience and keep hitting your marks, The fact that I was able to make up one position off that Porsche I had to let by was really encouraging, and the fact that I'm reeling in this Mustang, I remember the sense of excitement that I had in the moment of just knowing that a podium might be on the table. You just have to keep pushing, and maybe with a little bit of good luck, you can get some assists in it, but you just got to focus on what you can control here. As I'm really trying to do everything I can to get a good exit here. There's quite a big gap between brake release and throttle application, but just trying to be extra patient and get the car to roll through the corner. Same thing here, really need to set the nose and get the weight. The Mustang goes off wide and kind of doesn't cut my nose off here, but really kind of impedes on me driving as much of the track as possible and maximizing speed as I set the over-under up, and he parks it on the apex perfectly. Well done by him, fair play. It was a great move. I would have done the same. Sometimes when you mess a corner up like that, the only thing you can do is just, lift and, yoke the steering and get the car through the corner and force the guy behind you to hold up, you know. But there's not much he can do about the exit speed that I carry through that last corner, and with the slipstream, that's enough to at least signal that I might go on the inside. And he wasn't late on the brakes at all. I was just more aggressive on him, I feel like, and maybe the threat of showing the inside just sort of convinced him to think better of sending it down too wide. But you know, I feel like I was relatively polite about it. Definitely didn't squeeze him. I didn't, you know, I left as much space as possible on exit as well, and I think he probably let off a lot mid-corner to let me by. But you know, I don't feel bad about it one bit. We are on the runaway mode here now because it's late in the race and everyone wants their positions back. So we cut to a cockpit view here. Me chasing the red Ferrari, not the red Corvette. This is the red Ferrari. Coming down through that this right-hander that I don't love as we get a GTP just spinning out randomly. Carried a little too much speed, forgot to brake, I suppose. Poor fella, a couple laps left and just cooks it. McLaren looked familiar. Oh, yep. He decided to block off the race line. Not block, but to drive off the race line. I figured he was going to stay on the race line, but back markers will back marker, you know? This is a white flag lap here, chasing that Ferrari. This is the difference between P4 and a podium here, so I want to get this position as bad as you could imagine. Only have a couple more corners to get it done here. Little early on the throttle application, and I mean, not that that was the thing that did it, but that was, at this point, I'm accepting my fate as we get P2 and P3 for GTPs flying by here. I'm praying to God that they run into the Ferrari and I get to collect that position at the end, but they both behave. P2 almost pays for it, but they get through safe, and so does that Ferrari. And you know what, I mean, I'd rather win on fairness than misfortune like that anyway. So that's that race, and you know, from P10 to P4, I was pretty happy with it. You know, had some mishaps, but overall it was good training. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.